beautiful people. How are you? Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy that you're here. We are going to have an amazing discussion today. I am looking forward to it. So here's what we're going to be chatting about today. We are going to be talking about how to live your best life without losing the one you have. I'm going to give you 6 of my tips on how to live your best life without losing the one that you have. I surveyed the community and I asked you guys to share with me some topics that you wanted me to talk about. And somebody messaged me and said, Pastor Rochelle, how in the world are you able to write a book, be a wife, be a mother, be a grandmother, work a full-time job, be a pastor, and now start a YouTube channel? And so I wanted to come on here today and share with you my 6 tips. These are just my 6 tips. I'm not a professional, but I do have a little bit of experience, and this is what has worked for me, that has allowed me to accomplish some of my goals and be successful in some of the things that I've aspired to do. And so I wanted to share that with you today. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. If you haven't done so, listen, you need to subscribe to this channel because I'm going to be talking about some good things. So let's jump right in on our topic for today: how to live your best life without losing the one that you have. Okay, I first need to say this. I need to make a public service announcement and let everybody know this, because I do not want people to assume that I have this picture perfect life, that I'm organized, that I'm super smart, got a lot of money, and that my life is perfect and my life is great. It is not. My life is far from perfect. I'm far from perfect, but I'm willing. And that's important to know. I'm not perfect, but I'm willing. It is only by the grace of God that who I am and the things that I have done, it's only His grace that could have given it to me. Because let me tell you, on any given day, I am zapped of my energy and zapped of my patience and literally zapped of my strength. So any strength that I'm able to muster up to do things like this has to come from a power greater than me, and I call that person God. He is the reason why I am where I am. He is the reason why I'm who I am. And so I don't take any credit for that. I have accepted this truth right here. You ready for it? That my life is none of my business. That God is in control of everything that controls me. And as long as I stay out of God's business, God will give me the strength that I need to do all the things that my heart desires. So I have 6 tips for you on how to live your best life without losing the life that you have. And last year, I had one major accomplishment. I accomplished a lot of things, but last year I had a big accomplishment. One of my big accomplishments is that I published a book that I actually started back in 2015. And so I want to share that with you quickly. It is a book. You can purchase it on Amazon, and it's called Other Side of Through. It's a 30-day spiritual devotional that I wrote from some journal writings in 2015 when I was having a very challenging season of my life. And I did not know back then that it would turn into a book. But last year, reading through those journal writings, I knew that God wanted me to share my story with the world through this book. And so I wrote the book. Now, how did I do that? Because the person said, how in the world did you manage to do that and do all these other things? Here's tip number 1. We always say that we have to find time to do the things that we want to do. And here's what I have come to know. You will never find time. You have to make time. You'll never find the time to do the things that you want to do in life unless you make the time. It has to be purposeful, and you have to be intentional about making time. Now, what did I do to make time? One of the things that I changed about my life is I started getting up early in the morning. I noticed that my family didn't really need me much between the hours of 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. My family is asleep. And on the nights that my grandson stays here, he sleeps. So between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. was the time when I was able to live my best life because my family wasn't pulling on me at that time. So I started making a habit of getting up early. Now, I have a routine when I get up early. First thing I do is make my coffee because nothing happens without coffee. But I make my coffee, I pray, I read some inspirational things out of some books that I have. I read scripture, I write in my journal, I work out. Every morning at 5:30, I work out Monday through Saturday. Sunday is my only rest day. And then I meditate. So I had to start getting up early in order to start birthing out some of the things that were inside of me. I realized that was the best time that I had. So I didn't wait for that time to find me. I started making that time. Now, was I sleepy? Was it hard in the beginning? Heck yes, it was hard. But again, I was purposeful and intentional because I wanted to complete my goals. There were things that I knew I wanted to do and things that I knew that I wanted to accomplish. And if I was going to get it done, that was the time that I had to do it. So that was tip number 1. I got up early and I didn't wait for time to find me. I made time. Tip number 2. I starved my distractions and I started feeding my focus. What do I mean by that? When you're trying to live your best life, when you're trying to accomplish your goals, whether it's writing a book, starting a business, working on your health, it seems like everything at one time starts to pull on you and you get distracted. You start, but you don't finish. Or you have good intentions to start, but you never get started. So I had to practice starving my distractions and feeding my focus. What does that mean? When I started getting up at 3 a.m., the first thing that I would do, and I noticed that I was doing this, was I'd automatically open up Facebook and start scrolling through Facebook. Just scrolling. Some of you know who you are. Before you know it, a whole hour has gone by because you are watching, watch this, other people accomplish their goals and you're missing the opportunity to accomplish yours. So I had to starve my distractions and feed my focus. I had to say, Rochelle, you do not get to scroll through Facebook and watch other people accomplish their goals until you first accomplish yours. So, and that was just one thing, but there were many things. Turning on the TV, watching the news, getting stuck flipping through the channels, and oh my God, Real Housewives of Atlanta might be on, and I missed the episode, and now I'm stuck 30 minutes. I lost time again, because here's the thing about time. Once you lose it, you do not get it back. You don't get a refund. No, sir. So you got to starve your distractions, and you got to feed your focus if you're going to live your best life. And that's going to be, it's going to be a challenge because you're going to have to discipline yourself. You're going to have to commit to the process of accomplishing your goals and seeing things come to fruition. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, trust the process. Trust the process. Your journey is not going to look like everybody else's. And that's where you have to stop. You have to stop comparing your process with other people's. Just because they're in a different position or a different place on their journey or their path to success doesn't mean that you aren't going to show up. You just haven't showed up yet. You're on your way. You're just not there yet. And so you have to trust your process. And for some of us, it takes longer. Again, I told you, I wrote in my journal in 2015, but my book wasn't published until November of last year. I had to trust the process. I couldn't look at somebody else and say, oh my God, how come they published their book? How come they wrote a book in a month and then they published their book? It took years for me to publish my book, but I had to trust that God knew what he was doing with my life. I had to trust that God's best was happening even though I couldn't see it. I had to trust, watch this, I had to trust God's hand even though I couldn't trace him. And that, my friends, is a challenge because we are always looking for the accomplishment, but we're missing the small successes. I was writing every day. The book wasn't published yet, but I was working towards it. So trust the process. You may not be where you want to be, but guess what? When the time is right, you'll show up. Okay? You're on your way. I promise you. Don't give up 5 seconds before the miracle. Okay. Here is the fourth tip. Don't wait until you're ready. Did you hear me? Do not wait until you're ready to start living your best life. Case in point, look at this YouTube channel. I look at some people's YouTube channels and they got all these fancy backdrops and they got all these fancy cameras and all this fancy lighting. Listen, if I could turn this camera around and show you right now the stuff that I'm using to make this video happen, I didn't wait until I was ready to get started. I knew that I needed to start this YouTube channel. I knew that I needed to go to the next level. No, I don't have a fancy Sony, I don't even know what you call it, Sony camera. I'm using my iPhone. I don't have fancy lighting. I don't got a fancy backdrop. Maybe a year from now, the back of the videos will look nicer. The lighter will be a lot clearer. Right now, this is what I'm working with, and I'm okay with that. Because I don't want to live my life, watch this, with I wish, I woulda, coulda, shoulda. I am 45 years old, soon to be 50. And when I turn 50, I want to be able to look back on my life and say, you know what? Man, I am really glad that I tried that. Maybe it wasn't as successful as I thought it was going to be. Maybe everything didn't turn out the way that I thought, but at least I tried. At least you tried. Stop waiting until everything is perfect before you get started, because the reality is it's never going to be perfect. There is always going to be something wrong. There is always going to be a challenge that you're going to have to face. But if you're going to live your best life, listen, you can't wait until you get ready. You just got to go for it. So go for it. What are you waiting for? Why are you sitting there looking at me? Because I need you to look at me. I need you to get to the end of the video because I got two more tips. Here is my one. So let me go back. Don't wait for time to find you. Make time. Starve your distractions. Feed your focus. Get up early. Trust the process. Don't wait until you're ready. And this one, add feet to your faith. What do I mean by that? Add feet to your faith. Listen. Faith is the things that you can't see yet. Let me give you a good example. When you walk into a room and there are chairs in the room, nobody flips the chairs over to check to make sure that all the legs are screwed on properly. You know what you do? You go into the room and you have a seat. You have a seat in faith, trusting that thing that you're sitting on is going to hold you. Oh, that's good stuff. Let me say that because I think that was the nugget. You sit down on that thing, trusting that it is going to hold you. That is how you live your best life. You add feet to your faith. You walk and you don't look for the ground to be there. You just trust that when you put your feet down, the pavement will be there. You trust that your faith will exceed your fears. Your faith will exceed your fears. Listen, I said earlier that my life wasn't perfect. I need to tell you this. Around when I was about 30 years old, I had I don't know what happened to me, but I lost it. I ended up at 30 years old on the couch of a therapist for an entire year, trying to figure out my life, trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do. What was it that, what was my purpose? What was my goal? Was I going to be a good wife? How was I going to be a good pastor? How was I going to be, like, all this stuff with all this baggage that I had from my past. And one of the things that I learned from my therapist is she just kept saying, listen, this faith thing that you keep talking about, it does you no good to talk it and not walk it. And that's what I mean about adding feet to your faith. Walk what you talk. Walk in what you believe, even if you can't see it yet. I don't know what's going to happen with this YouTube channel. I may only have 60 subscribers for the next 2 years, but I'm trusting that this thing is going to grow and be exactly what God intended, simply because I added feet to my faith. So I want to encourage you in that. Add feet to your faith. The other thing the person asked me, and this is my last tip, they said, Pastor Rochelle, do you have goals for each of the things in your life? Yes, I do. I have goals for my marriage. I have goals for my ministry. I have goals for my job. I have goals for my personal dreams that I want to aspire to. I have goals for my children and my grandchildren. Yes, I have goals for those different areas of my life. But let me say this. It is important to know that the goals that you have, regardless to how many you have, it doesn't mean that all of them need to be done at the same time. Everything has an appointed season and appointed time. There are things that I want to work on in my marriage that is for a season. There are things that I need to work on with my ministry that are for a appointed season. The problem is we try to take on too much and do too much, and then when we fail, we quit. It is better to be an expert at one thing than to be a failure at many things. Did you hear that? I would rather be an expert and accomplish one thing than to fail at many things. So everything doesn't need to be done at the same time. You have to include God in your plans, because when you include God in your plans, then He will direct your steps. He literally will begin to show you what to do and what not to do. No, it's not time to open up the business. No, it's not time to write the book right now. Maybe right now you need to focus on your marriage. Maybe right now you need to spend more time with your children. When you commit your work to the Lord, when you commit your goals, when you commit your best life to God, the God who created you and knows you better than anybody else, even than yourself, then He will direct your path and He will let you know which way to go. So I hope those tips were helpful. That's just what I have done. That's just what has helped me to live my best life without losing my life. I'm still a great wife. I'm still a pastor. I'm still a mother. I still see my grandkids often because they live within a 5-mile radius from my house. I'm still able to do all those things and live my best life. So I hope that's been helpful. If it's been helpful, do me a favor, write in the comments below. Just leave me a message. Let me know if this video has helped you. Tag, share this on Facebook, share this on your social media sites. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out, because we're going to be talking about some good stuff in the coming weeks. And so I don't want you to miss out. So make sure you subscribe. And comment below. Let me know if there's other things that you want me to talk about. I'm willing to talk about whatever. Long as it, well, I do have boundaries, but, just message me. Let me know. I'll chat about it. We'll talk about it. Leave it in the comments below. So have an amazing day on purpose, because you're worth it. Live your best life. You can live your best life without losing your life. Enjoy your day. Talk to you soon.